Hey y'all, this is Tyler and
Riley
from O.T.R.Outdoors. Today we're going to cover a quick fire lay for cooking, and we're going to cook up some bannock. All we've done so far is prep all of our materials. We got a little bit of split wood and a little bit of twigs and branches. Using the split wood because it was left over from a fire previously, and all I did for all the twigs is walk around my yard and pick them up. We're going to do the fire in the fire pit tonight. So what we're going to do is get a couple of our big pieces here and get them on the ground just to get us up off the ground. It did rain. I guess it's been 2 whole days since it's rained. Watch out, right? It's been 2 days since it's rained, but this stuff's still a little damp in here. Just get it moved out of the way a bit. Get us a flat spot. That should be just about good right there. So now what we're going to do is I've got this big handful of poplar bark. Just get it processed down real quick, real rough. Riley's actually going to start the fire. She's been practicing. So hey, go grab your fire kit out of your backpack. We're not going to worry about getting this overly processed. This stuff was super dry. I had it collected probably a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, and had it sitting in got a smoker. When I'm not using it, I'll set any of the tinder I'm trying to keep dry inside it just so it stays dry, and it's right here where we need it. Alright, so we got our base set up. We'll grab some logs we can build on top of. Like I said earlier, Riley's been practicing her fire, so she's going to light the fire today. Alright, so let's get a little bit closer. You stick your match right there. Okay. Gotta push hard. Alright, drop the match in there.
quick.
Okay. So basically we're just going to crisscross everything. Go put your matches back in your kit so you don't lose them. You alright?
I can show you what I did with it.
With what?
The match.
You can put it in there. That's where it's supposed to go.
I showed you what I did with it.
The nice thing about using a log cabin fire for cooking is it kind of concentrates your coals into one spot, but it's not like a typical
I'll show you
no
what I did
matches.
with it.
It's not your typical teepee fire where your fire tends to be in more of a circle. This will concentrate all your coals into one specific spot, and if you do it correctly with your logs, you can actually use your logs as your base to get you up off the coals a little bit. Let that heat do its job. I'm gonna let this get going for a second, and then we'll bring you back. All right, so while we let our fire get going and burn down the coals, we're gonna get everything else prepped. I have added a few things in my scouting pack. That's what I'm working out of today. And I'll do a video on some of the stuff I've upgraded, but real quick I'm going to show you the things that we're going to use today that I have added back in. I've got a measuring cup that I've bent the handle on. I can use it as a coffee mug if I want. But it's 100% stainless steel, and it's got all the measurements on the side. So 1/4 cup, 1/2 cup, 3/4 cup, all the way up to a cup. And along with that, spork, which I had in my other pack, and then I have it's a real cheap. I think I bought this at Walmart. I've had this pan for probably 15 years, at least 15 years, if not more. But as you can tell, it's been through quite a bit. It's pretty clean right now. I've got it cleaned up quite a bit. When I found it the other day and put it in here. So we're gonna use that. So we're gonna come over here and grab our flour. And for my bannock, the recipe I like to use, self-rising flour. That way you don't have to add or have anything else with you. You simply add water to your flour, and it has all the leavening agents in it. Actually, we're going to start with our water. I use a 1-to-2 ratio. So if I use fourth cup of water, I'll use a half cup of flour. Since we're using a smaller pan today, that's what I'm going to do. Measure out my fourth cup. I'm going to pour it back into my pan there. I'm going to stir everything up in this measuring cup. I'm going to measure my water, and I can measure my flour in there, in my cup, and then pour the water back on top. Hopefully we got enough left in here to make it. Looks like I only got about a fourth cup of flour left. So I'll pour a little bit of this water off. We'll go ahead and pour some in there first and then see where we're at. That actually looks about right there. So we'll pour all that off. Grab a rag and dry it out a little bit. And I don't fry my bannock when I cook it in a pan. I usually put just enough oil in there to keep it from sticking and add a little bit of flavor to it. I actually prefer to use butter, but I've got the olive oil with me today anyway, so I'll use it. So just enough oil. Grease up the bottom of the pan. Go ahead and do the sides. If you get your bannock a little small, or get it thinner rather, it'll cook a little more evenly and faster for you. Take your pan. So one of the nice things about using that log cabin, it basically gives you a platform to cook on. What I'm going to do is rinse off my spoon here, and I'll use my fork to flip it. It's a smaller one like that. And with the small one, even with the one that would fill up that pan, if you get it thin, it's not going to take a terrible long time. And like I said earlier, I like to use self-rising flour so I don't have to add anything to it. It's already got a leavening agent in it. And basically you want, when you get it started, you want it about like a pizza crust when you get ready to put it on there. About, if you've ever made homemade pizza crust, it's about what your bannock should be like. That nice golden color to your bannock. One thing to note if you're cooking, I'm sure a lot of you know this, but don't ever use pine because the resin in it will basically taint your whatever food you're cooking. It's not going to bother you as much if you happen to use it, if you're using a pan like this and you have it covered, but if you're roasting something over the fire, you're definitely gonna notice it. It's just easier just to stay away from it altogether. Now you can use it for your to get your fire initially started and let it burn down to completely coals and then add your hardwoods to it and you'll be fine. But I generally don't use it at all if I know I'm going to be cooking with that fire. Unless, like I said, if I'm going to start my fire and not use it to cook immediately with, I may use some pine or fat wood to get it going initially and then using all my hardwoods after that. But for this, I mean, I just used what was laying around in the yard. So where I was picking up sticks, it's going to be oak, some tula poplar, maybe some sassafras, because I did cut down a sassafras. I think I grabbed 1 or 2 pieces of the stuff that I cut off of it previously. So we're looking about good there. The sides aren't quite done. What you can do is if you get a thicker piece like this and your sides, just flip it up on the edge, let that side cook. You know, it'll take a couple seconds to get those sides toasted up and cooked all the way. Alright, so she's done now. I was saying earlier, one of the nice things I really like about this pan, like I said earlier, I've had it for probably 15 years. I mean, I bought it when I was probably 15, 16, I may have been even younger, maybe older than 15 years, but it's got copper on the bottom so it heats up nice and even. But the other nice thing with it being fairly thin is it cools off pretty quick. And surprisingly enough, I hadn't melted the rubber off those handles yet. We're gonna flip our measuring cup off here, let that cool for a minute, set this off to the side. There you go, perfect. Perfect bannock right there. Yeah. Some good stuff, nice little little Christmas to the outside, nice and soft on the inside. Perfect with bacon and eggs. Alright y'all, so that's a quick video on how to make bannock on a fire. Really good, goes with a lot of stuff. I mean, it's not hard to carry either. All you gotta take is, like I said, I use self-rising flour. So flour and water in a measuring cup, or have your measurements figured out on your cup that you use normally. It's not a big deal. Really good with just about anything. Gives you a nice bread to have while you're out. And it fills you up good, keep you nice and warm at night if you eat it right before you go to bed. Stick to your ribs kind of food. So remember, there's always a storm coming.
Keep your head up. See you next time.
And as Riley just said, remember, there's always a storm coming. Keep your powder dry, your action knife sharp, and on your back trail. We'll see y'all next time.